It's time for us to talk about some branding, little marketing, some more entrepreneurship, little splish splash. And we have none other than Tim Martin in the building. Tim, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Tim, what's good, boss?
What's good, brother?
Man, listen, quarter three is all about giving the game on branding and marketing. And as you and I know, it's so important how to be able to do that in this day and age because social media has completely changed the game for young people being able to brand and be able to start to market themselves early. So, what type of advice do we have for the young people when it comes to branding who they are or what they're going to be?
Man, off the top, I would say authenticity, just to be
Mm,
yourself. You know what I mean? Because I think in this day and age, everybody's always trying to mimic the results, right? They always try to play the end game, so to speak. So I think, for me personally, I've always tried to come from a aspect of showing my imperfections, and showing the process of where I started and how I got to this point in my career. So I think authenticity would be the biggest thing that you could do to be more relatable to your consumer based market. Whoever your fan base may be, being able to connect in a genuine aspect is one of the things that I know I hold my hat on for sure.
that's a, I think you hit it right on because when you think about being authentic, and staying true to you, that's going to take you a long way. I know people speak on it, but
Hmm.
really, when you have that integrity, it allows for you to continue to grow. So,
Right.
Dave, so here's the thing: you're building an app, and I want to shed some light on your app and all
Hmm.
the basketball knowledge that you're going to be sharing. What are some of the marketing strategies that you're going to use to push your app and the content that you're pushing out with it?
Well, so I'm taking the old school approach first and foremost. I'm doing a lot of footwork, so I'm gonna have a lot of satellite camps gonna be posting up around the country, and I want to be able to engage and be able to interact with people in person. I've always been a firm believer in making players feel good about themselves. I
Right.
know you guys was talking earlier about just the importance of confidence and what have you, but just taking that aspect, I think having people get a better understanding of my philosophy and my blueprint on how to go from point A to point B. I think it's very important to do that up close in person. I know with the whole epidemic, with the pandemic that's happened, everything's virtual now. So I think
Everything.
going back to that approach where you hands on, will definitely help be able to promote the app in different ways and have different interactions that we haven't been able to do as of late.
That's amazing. So the reason why I asked you that because there's going to be some people that are going to be watching that
Hmm.
are in the process of developing something, and they're not going to have a marketing strategy. They're not going to have a blueprint like you just
Hmm.
spoke about. And when you spoke on the blueprint, a blueprint is something that is a plan that is already in action. Like you already have it laid out.
Hmm.
What are some of the cities and places? I know you're going to Atlanta here this next weekend. Where are some of the places that you're having camps, and what's the name of those camps?
Yeah. So the name of the camps is gonna be the process camps, and so ideally I want to walk the kids through the whole process of becoming an NBA player. For example, I think the PR aspect is extremely important. Just the actual branding in itself, how you carry yourself, your body language, how you speak. Those little tidbits I think can separate you from a branding standpoint. But then in terms of the on court performance, being evaluated in different scenarios, I think is extremely important. I think most of these camps in the that we've seen or grew up with is more so
Right.
from just a training aspect. But being able to be put in situations like coming off of pin downs, understanding how to actually play in a pick and roll in a 3-on-3 aspect, helps you understand spacing, so many intricate parts of the game that maybe they wouldn't get in a normal camp, so to speak.
Right.
So for the process, it's actually just layering all those little variables out for the kids to
I
understand.
love what you said about evaluation, right?
Hmm.
And I'm thinking like how important evaluations are, and to get feedback
Right.
from a positive and a negative perspective. You know, when you look at an evaluation, if it's targeted to where someone can really grow, like you talk about a certain niche of area, like your footwork, your balance, I think that's going to help people grow to the next level. And it's crazy that you say that your camp, the process is going to be evaluating kids like the old 5-star camp, and
Hmm.
it's going to give them an opportunity to really grow and learn about themselves. And that's what the process is about, correct?
100%. And that's important too, because it's not just about basketball. You know this better than anybody. You know, there's
Right.
so many things that go on behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of players understand. You know, and the mental aspect. That's one area that we're really gonna hone in on is the psychology and the mental approach. You know, pregame routine, morning routine. All those
Mm.
little intricate details matter and ultimately affect your performance on the court.
So I'm gonna take a quick pivot, and I want people to know that you are part of a company called Lean,
Mhm.
and being a part of a company, Lean, is based out of China. One of the biggest basketball players that they've had so far is Dwyane Wade. They
Yeah,
recently signed Jimmy Butler, which
yeah.
those are two, legendary players right there, right off the bat. What's your position with Leaning? How did you get the position, and how could somebody like me get, tied into where I could be, working? Because that's amazing when you think about
Yeah.
it. Most people don't know it, but how do you get a position in another country and be able to execute it being in the United States?
Well, long story short, I used to do basketball camps in China, in the different provinces out there. And at the time, they was in need of a service rep. So essentially, what I do for the company is on the Way of Wade side for Dwyane Wade's shoe brand is I service all the players from a standpoint of making sure that they have all their gear, their shoes before the games, whatever products that colorways. Maybe it's the Christmas Day colorways that they have. I got to make sure that that's being delivered on time and so forth. So the cool part outside of that, though, is I get to experience going on tour with Dwyane Wade and seeing what goes into it, man. And it's extremely humbling. It's still surreal for me to be in this position, to be around somebody like that, but to see how the shoes are made, to see how the designs are created, and just going through that whole process in itself is been very rewarding.
Can you take me back to the tour of the 16th season for Dwayne, his retiring season? That everybody's calling it the Sweet 16. Didn't you go on tour with him to
Yeah,
China? What
yeah,
was that like? Because first of all, Dwayne's one of my favorite players. Let's get
man.
that out the way.
Hey,
And he's such an amazing individual.
yes,
I mean, you can speak on it, Tim. When have you
yes.
met somebody that is superstar status, but is humble
Mhm.
and amazing all at the same time?
We don't have enough time for me to explain who D Wade is. Like that guy is a superstar in every aspect of the word. Like it's not just basketball. I mean, he's
Right.
high level in every area of life. As a father, as a visionary, one of the greatest visionaries I've ever seen up close. And so going on tour with him, it's just again, it's surreal. Like hundreds and thousands of people coming to these events. So what we do is we go to like different malls, and he'll showcase the latest shoe that just came out, like the Wow 8 or the Wow 9, for example. And it's just amazing to see how many people really love this guy. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. He's one of the greatest players of all time, and just to see what goes on behind the scenes, it's really remarkable.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So Okay, so I want a story um, about playing in China. So when you guys are over there, when you're on tour, do you get a chance to compete, or do the fans get a chance to compete? Because I've seen some footages to where like I've seen UD, I see D, and I've seen them really whooping up on some people's ass. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Well, that's a given. I will say this though. There's a story. Okay. I knew D Wade was really D Wade when I try to guard him. So every year when we go to China, we have to test out the shoes, right? So he's got to feel, see what's right, what's wrong with the shoes, and all that, the prototypes. So we getting shots up or what have you, and I'm trying to play defense. So I'm thinking I got a little something in the tank. Nah, man, he's sitting there pump faking me. I'm jumping up in the air. He's spinning off of me, getting the and ones left and right, and there's nothing I could do about it. And that's when I really learned, like, hey, this guy, he is literally one of the greatest of all time,
That's
But it's UD, for example. UD is another great individual, a legendary guy. He's the king of Miami, along with Dwyane Wade.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so I can't say enough great things about those guys though. Overall,
Wow, wow. That's next time I'm going on tour. I told D, I was like,
yeah,
yo, y'all ain't going on another tour without me at
yeah. No, he
all.
he busted me up pretty good, so I can't say nothing, man.
So Tim, being in Dallas
Mhm.
and you being one of the top teachers around, I love watching you develop players because you're a great communicator. How important is communication in the game of life and in basketball?
It's everything. It's everything. And you taught me a lot about this too, and over communicating and how you say certain things matters,
Right,
and there's a lot of things that the players that I work with will forget, but it's also important to make sure that you make them feel a certain way. Those are things, the way you make somebody feel, they'll never forget that, so,
that's the
and
fact.
the communication aspect, you have to know when to say certain things. You know how to you have to know when to press certain buttons to get the best out of your players. But communication to me is something that I pride myself on, and I study communication
Right.
because it goes both ways. It's not just me lecturing. I try to make sure that I'm having conversations with my players to get the feedback, as you mentioned, and to be able to have some sort of a effective dialogue.
Right. You're one of the best at it. Like, I mean, hands down, when it comes to being able to say exactly what you're looking for, demonstrate it, and then allow them to go through it. Like that's three different types of levels of getting that rep.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So I'm gonna throw this at you before Kennedy pop in.
Yep.
Follow up and follow through.
Right.
What does that mean to you?
We talked about this, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and it changed the whole layout of my life and my business because it's the little things that always um, separate you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And following up is one thing, but to be able to follow through and be a man of your word shows the integrity, and it shows the perseverance that you need to be successful. And just the follow up, follow through is the mantra that I try to live by, and try to make sure that I'm doing that in every aspect of my life, not just in business, but with my son, with my friendships, relationships, whatever the case may be. I try to make sure that I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do.
Man, that's probably one of the it's the most important thing I've learned.
Hmm.
Like doing what you say that you're gonna do. And so following up, like if someone calls you, call them back.
Yeah.
If someone say, "Hey, I want to provide an opportunity for you," follow up and then follow through. If you tell your son, "I'm going to be there to pick you up, I'm going to take you to the movies," you got to do that. A
Right.
lot of times people say one thing and do another.
Hmm.
And this really hurts them not only in business but relationships, in organizations. It hurts you because people then tend not to believe what you're saying and how you're going to do it. So that's why when I looked at follow up and follow through, every time I'm going to go through what I'm supposed to, no matter if I wanted to do it or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Kennedy, take it away.
That's fire. Tim, before we let you go, make sure you shout out your socials so we can follow you.
Yeah. Well, my Instagram is Tim Martin B-ball, and my Twitter is Tim Martin _TX.
Fire. All right. Follow up, follow through. Now look, y'all, I ain't got too much of a shot. What I do know is on the court, when you hit that ball, you're supposed to follow it all the way through, right, Chris?
Hey,
right.
You supposed,
you
hey, you
already
got to
know.
follow all the way through.
That's how we just hoop. Now look, we didn't had another amazing episode of 48 Minutes a Game, but it's only right that we ended off with the legendary master trainer, you know what I'm saying, our master host right here, Chris Johnson. Give us some more words of wisdom to end the day. And oh yeah, before you do that, make sure you guys tap back in with us on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, the same time on Wednesday, and tap in with us on Clubhouse. If you're not tapped in on Clubhouse,
Oh, yeah.
we got
Tomorrow,
more
Tuesday and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays for Clubhouse. But what you got for us today, Chris?
Listen, anything that you give free will circulate. Okay, let me say that again. Anything that you give free will circulate. What I mean by that is you can't charge for everything. If you want to get to the top, you got to give something away. You got to give it away, and it will circulate amongst many people. So if you want to start a new business, give something away. Maybe that's an ebook. Maybe that's knowledge. Maybe that's a sample. Figure out what you want to give it away, and it will circulate to so many people. It will touch so many people's hands. Follow up and follow through. 48 minutes a game. We out.